There's something to be said for a woman who can say, I know who I am, and I am aware and in touch with who I am, and I'm comfortable with living in my own skin. All right, here we go. So we're talking about loving yourself this month and cherishing and loving who we are and letting God speak into that, really seeing the value and worth that's in you and allowing God to speak into that. And here's the thing, like, we can all love who we are, but it never hurts to keep receiving and growing in the love of God and letting Him pour into us that way, because there's so much more to us than what we know. I have found, like, really when I started to say, yeah, I know who I am, I know where I'm going in life, there were so many more things that I discovered about gifts and abilities and talents, or at least what my innate gifts, abilities, and talents were going to open up for me and what they meant for my future and where I could go with them that I had no clue about, that the Lord had to reveal. Like, it just never occurred to me. His thoughts and ways are higher and better than our thoughts and ways. And He typically has some stuff that's way more cool planned for us than what we would give ourselves credit for. But before you can get there, it's important to just accept who you are. And I don't mean accept with reservations like, this is who I am. There's so many things that aren't great, but it is what it is, so we're going to go with it. No, I mean accept who you are, as in affirm, love, own, and even cover who you are in a certain extent. And I don't mean cover from like a self-protective coping mechanism, like no one's going to take care of me, so I got to do it for myself. Not that. More of like a nurturing. I know I'm talking like, I almost feel like I'm talking in a parable, but what I'm really meaning to say is there's something to be said for a woman who can say, I know who I am, and I am aware and in touch with who I am, and I'm comfortable with living in my own skin. That brings so much peace, and that peace is so necessary to have stability in all of the changes in life. For me, I'll give an example. For me, it hit my like mid to late 20s, or actually more like my mid 20s, and I realized that every year since I had turned 18, I had moved until maybe like the age 24. Because I moved, from dorm to dorm room to apartment to an apartment with a friend. And then I did live with a family for a couple of years, stayed in a room at their house. But when I hit 24 and I got my first professional job, I then got an apartment. I was like, I'm not going to move for like 2 years. Well, then I was there for 2 years, got another apartment. I was there for a year and a half. I just do a lot of moving, right? I've moved a lot. And I know that's not just like unique to me, but man, I always felt so unsettled sometimes. Or like, why can't I ever just sit still? But I realized my life was always evolving. I was always evolving, always growing, always moving into something new. And that was just the name of the game. And it was cool. In all of those transitions, some of them felt hard because I felt like I'm just moving aimlessly. I don't really have a stable place in life, a stable job, stable friendships, a stable footing on where I'm going. So I'm just moving until I figure it out. And I hated that. I hated it. But there were also times, especially in those college years, where it was like, you're moving because you did your year's study. You're going to take a break, go home, or, I got a job in the local area, make a little money, and go back to school until I got my degree. But in all of that moving, for me, it was like almost an allegory of my life, of all the transitions. And as I have grown up and matured, I found that at this point in my life, I'm not moving all the time, but things are constantly shifting. My job changed last year. Friendships changed, opportunities changed, career trajectory changed, ministry changed, what I actually discovered that I wanted to do with my life changed. So much shifted, but I felt at peace and solid and stable because I had a real sense of who I was, and I was in touch with me. I was like, you know what? All of this is changing, but all of these changes are consistent with who I am and where I want to go in life. Really, the thing is, self-acceptance gives you peace in the midst of transition. It helps you to have peace with the decisions that you make, and it also helps you to understand, it helps you to have peace with where you're going. And you know, self-acceptance is more than just being okay with yourself. It's being aware of all that you are and accepting and owning that as a part of your identity. And then from there, living your life. And how do you accept yourself? Like, what does that mean? How do you go about it? Number one, I think it really starts with what we talked about in the first video, Empowerment Moment of February, loving you. Just saying, I'm worth loving, seeing your value and worth, and writing it out and being like, yes, this is me. And where you falter, saying, it's okay, I give myself permission to grow from this. And knowing, giving yourself grace to go through your process. And then video number two, why does God love me? You own and accept yourself, but you also have to allow the Lord to speak into your life about what he values. And now granted, God loves you unconditionally. So even if you were in your most broken state, he's not going to say, I love you despite those things. I love all of you, because love is a choice. But there are also things that are beautiful and wonderful about you, and he speaks to those things. He brings those out. He values you and treasures you and created you. He knows more about those amazing aspects of who you are than you do, so it's important to let him speak into you. So when you recognize what you love about yourself and you allow God to define your identity in love, then you see those characteristics and you say, okay, this is me. And know that you're going to keep discovering it. And that's why I like to use the phrase discovering and rediscovering, because I know that there are women who are very established in life and very happy with where they are, who still can discover more of who they are. And maybe sometimes you just want a new venture, or maybe people are telling you it's time to move on to something else, and you can't even see how that would happen because there's so much more to you than what you even knew, and you know you're already a boss, right? I just want to provoke you to thought, really. Like, have you really accepted who you are? Just really being settled and confident. That's what I'm going for. I'm not there yet. I'm getting there. But there are a few things that I'm like, I just want to master not caring about opinions. I want to master fully being me. Self-acceptance is the name of the game. Learning to accept who you are and really own it. Not with the mentality that this is who I am, I'm never going to get better, I'm just going to accept who I am now and just deal with myself, but more of from that place of valuing and knowing your character, your nature, your identity, whatever you know of it now, receiving that and saying yes to it, accepting who you are and having confidence in that, and knowing that you're going to continue to grow and mature, and that's going to develop into even more awesomeness about you. That's going to give you a sense of peace that will be an anchor for you as you go through transition in life, and when you have to stay consistent in something that's very challenging. All right, so I hope all that made sense. Let me know, do you agree? And what have you learned about self-acceptance on your own journey? I would love to hear it. Thank you so much for being a part of the Modern Woman community. It's so awesome to do this journey with you guys. Remember to follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can stay connected, stay a part of the story, join the community. This journey is better with you. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video.